Welcome to another edition of the GearJunkie Roundup presented by GoRVing, where we run through a few of the week's big headlines and go deeper into the story to talk about what's going on in the outdoors. I'm Adam Ruggiero. Today I'm joined by Jenny Arbuckle, Sean McCoy. How are you guys doing?
Great.
Great.
Are you ready to talk
Super
outdoors?
stoked. Let's talk.
Oh, yeah.
We'll roll right into it. The first story you'll find on GearJunkie.com from this week is Grit Group has goal, 33% girls in NICA mountain biking. So, the National Interscholastic Cycling Association, which gets youth through high school into mountain bike sports, which is kind of a big deal because I think when we went to school, we're all familiar with ball sports, set a lofty goal to get 33% of its participants to be female by 2023. First of all, were you mountain biking in high school?
No, I just got my bike last season.
Okay.
So I'm super new.
Would
super
you
green.
would you have joined a mountain biking league as a high schooler?
I think that would have been awesome. I mean, just in general, there's all these new sports for high schoolers, like ultimate frisbee, mountain biking, climbing. Like those weren't available when I was in high school, or at least where I went to high school. So I think that's awesome. I mean, a little cost prohibitive, maybe in some parts of the country, but.
Do you see mountain biking as a male-dominated activity?
Yes.
Why? Like, why is it? Not why do you see it, but why is it?
Why currently? Well, I mean, just out on the trail, just numbers wise, there's not a ton of women biking, or often when I'm biking with my ladies, I see other women, but they're biking with their boyfriends or partners or something like that. So, I mean, that's just kind of a trend in female sport in general, is like if you're getting into something new, you're probably being taught how to do it by a man.
Yeah. Sean, were you mountain biking in high school?
I rode a mountain bike in high school. There wasn't a league at that period of time. It's interesting. I was definitely into individual sports more than team sports, so I probably would have been drawn to it if that was available at that time.
Do you think mountain biking in general can pull more participants away from those like established ball sports as like a high school activity?
Yeah, I certainly wouldn't be surprised. I mean, it also might pull them away from other sports like cross country or wrestling or other track and field, things like that are also individual sports. But I think that offering this as another one, it's super cool in my opinion. I think as a high school kid, that'd be a rad sport to be a part of.
So NICA and Grit stands for Girls Riding Together. It is an awesome initiative. Like, we'd love to see way more parity. Do you think they can hit that mark?
Well, there's
by
some money
2023?
behind it, right?
Yeah, the Walton Family Foundation, which has really invested in mountain biking in particular, is putting forth like $150,000 to like get this to happen, which is a big deal, which is cool. And I think currently their participation stands at 20% female, but that's like 33% by 2023, which is 2.5 years away.
Yeah.
Do you think they can hit it?
That'd be dramatic growth. I don't know. What do you think, Kim?
I think it's possible because like there's already a shift happening in women's sport. I mean, with the Women's World Cup team that just killed it this year, or just outdoor recreation in general. There's a lot of momentum. Our eyes behind it. There's a lot of players, so there's just a little bit extra investment. That might be the push that they need to get it going.
Totally. We're gonna stick with mountain biking. Again, you're tuned into the GearJunkie Roundup presented by GoRVing. Like I said, staying with mountain biking, we had a story. Steven, our fearless leader, wrote a story about what might be the hardest single-day mountain bike race in the world. It's called the Margie Gesek. It is a roughly 100-mile race in Michigan with an insane amount of climbing. I think it has like more than 12,000 feet.
That's
and
a lot.
I talked to Kurt, especially for Michigan, right?
Yeah.
And I talked to Kurt at our Minneapolis office, and he said he'd seen somebody's cycling computer that said something like 17,000 feet of climbing over 100 miles. I had never heard of this race. Had you?
No,
I hadn't either.
Why haven't we heard of it?
I don't know, but we have now. I mean, it's only been around for 5 years, I want to say.
Something like that.
And it's kind of a niche race. It's a very cross-country and very hard.
So to shape this up, and you let me know if I miss anything, but it's not just... It's around 100 miles. I guess sometimes it's like 94 miles. I think this last year was 108 miles. It happens in August. It's relevant now because registration is going to open on October 11th for the 2020 race.
And this one sells out, right?
But it has 666 participants, appropriately.
Very dark.
But it has like there's a token element where you have to make sure you get all the tokens along the way, but you don't know how many tokens there are going to be. And if you drop out, it has something like a 2/3 dropout rate.
Yeah.
You have to text quitter to a number, along with your bib number, to a number they give you at the beginning of the race, and that way you get like a needs to come back and finish shirt or something like that. So it's an insane race. Sean, you've done a lot of ultra and endurance and adventure racing.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it that cyclists do these weird things? Like running races seem to be pretty straightforward. It's difficult, you do it.
There's some running races like that though too. I mean, you look at Barclay.
Okay, give it to me.
Barclay marathons. That's, I mean, it has like a 15% finisher rate,
it's terrible.
and it's dark and
it's not just
brooding and hard.
But it's not just hard. This has like a humiliation and like weird mind game element.
Oh,
to it.
that's the same with Barclay though.
Okay.
I mean, they do the same thing. They start at an unfamiliar time. Every every race is set up like that. It's going to start within 12 hours, and then they blow a conch shell, and you have an hour to get ready. You have to go find pages from dark novels out in the woods.
Do you like this?
I've never done it.
Would
I'm
you
never
do it?
doing that one. That sounds
super
gnarly.
fun.
Would you be into it?
Yes.
I mean, a piece of me is definitely into it. Another piece of me, having done Leadville and a handful of other 100-mile races, I have no real desire to just go get my butt kicked that hard, because I know it would be brutal. But
Yeah.
it's really interesting. Like, that element of uncertainty, I think, adds a very cool aspect to a race that might be cool in a more accessible one that's a little bit easier to finish too. But
Jenny, what's the weirdest race you've done?
Weirdest?
Yeah, something that was out there. Because I did alley cat racing, and that involved like the Super Bowl happens February in Minneapolis, and it is the
Okay.
largest alley cat race. For those who don't know, it's a scavenger hunt manifest race through a city, and the largest one of all takes place in Minneapolis in February. It's extremely cold. But you have to, like one year I had to carry like old rims, and your bike just gets loaded down. You usually have to shotgun a few beers along the way. It's fun like the first time you do it, but like I can't imagine wanting to do it again.
Yeah.
Have you ever done a race like that?
I mean, I've done some like scavenger hunt mixed with like adventure races before in the hill country and Texas. I don't know, nothing like too super weird though. I mean, traditionally.
Would you do 17,000 feet of climb and have to get tokens?
I mean, I love being in the pain cave.
Dude.
So the
Okay.
gamification of that mixed with like just hardcore dark place pain cave is really appealing to me, and I'm sure it is to a lot of other people given that it sells out that fast.
Well, if you think you might be up for it, check it out on GearJunkie. Hardest single day mountain bike race in America. Meet the Margie Gesek again this week. Registration opens for the 2020 race in August, September. And
But
since Go RVing has kindly sponsored this week's episode, I have a live read. This week's episode, again, presented by Go RVing. Whatever your interests, wherever you want to explore, whomever you want to take along, an RV is the best way to travel. Check out some of the top reasons to go RVing at GoRVing.com. Do either of you RV?
professionally, no. But
Sure, thanks.
I mean, I've slept in an RV a few times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember the RV we had up at the in Minnesota?
That was pretty fun.
Would you have done one of those? It was a Winnebago.
Yeah, that thing was pretty sweet. I enjoyed it.
Do you RV?
I have booked a few Airbnbs where I stay in the RV and like someone's like yard
Yeah.
or driveway.
Could you make a go of it?
I think so.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
the back of my truck considered RV?
No, 100%
No.
no.
No, okay. There's no recreation happening there because I've
Absolutely
slept in that a lot.
Utterly inhabitable.
Yeah.
Our final story for the week. Patagonia now guarantees every shell, all of its waterproof shells, will use some degree of recycled face fabric and guaranteed fair trade sewing. Sean, I'm going to start with you. Is this a big deal?
I think it's a big deal in the sense that we're going to see a foreshadowing here of what we're going to see across the industry in the coming year. Having been to Outdoor Retailer this last show, every brand is now jumping on the sustainability wagon, which I love to see. I love to see a lot more recycled products because ultimately, if people are building things out of recycled products, it makes a much bigger impetus for brands to actually collect these materials. Recycling it, that's one of the biggest problems, that people are bringing their stuff together to get picked up, but then there's no use for it. So if we can create that demand, it'll hopefully in time, start solving some of the problems with plastic in the ocean and plastic everywhere, because there's a lot of plastic on Earth. But
Right.
I don't know. I like this initiative, but I think we're gonna see this going across the entire industry very soon.
Yeah.
Right. Jenny, do you see this as the industry responding to something that the people are demanding, or do you see the industry just recognizing the issue of their own impact and doing it ahead of what people are asking for?
I mean, it's probably a combination. Patagonia has always been a leader in sustainability in the industry. So it's a little bit of a mix, but I mean, to your point on recycling, I mean, there's reduce, reuse, and then recycle is the last
In
step.
that order.
In that order.
Right?
And I feel like this industry in general could be a little bit better at the first two steps, but kudos to Patagonia. This is what's within their control as a manufacturer. So it's up to us as the consumer to maybe take the reins on the other two steps.
Yeah, and Sean, I'm going to give you a plug right here because you're about to go. It's freezing cold in Colorado right now. You're about to go. You're about to go off into the hinterland to go hunting.
Yep.
But we've also talked about the impact of like just buying packaged meat at the store, the carbon footprint there. How much will this help individual people reduce their impact, and or is this just not where people should be starting their focus? Or other things they should be looking at?
I mean, I am personally of the mindset that we need to do everything we possibly can as individuals, because the system that we live in is really set up for failure, I think, on an environmental level. There's a lot of people on Earth. We've taken up a lot of the land, and over time, I mean, we're just gradually beating things up more and more. Everything that individuals can do, it helps. For me, partially, that's somewhat of the reasons that I go hunting is that I know, I'm taking basically what's a natural resource and collecting it myself. Hopefully, I don't end up buying very much meat throughout the year, and I also
satisfies your bloodlust.
Well, obviously, yeah. But I mean, it does lower. And without vegetarianism, which I do eat a pretty vegetarian heavy diet most of the time. But when I have an elk or a deer in my freezer, then I'm able to expand that, which I personally like, and it's something I've enjoyed for years. But, that's just one step out of so many things that anyone can do. It's just, we're at a very hard place as a society right now, and I think that every little thing helps.
I would say also that when you're talking about reduce, reuse, recycle in that order, I think people should, instead of getting excited about a new Patagonia shell that has fair trade sewing and is made with recycled materials, if you have a coat in your closet, keep using that coat. Fix that coat. That does way more good than buying this other coat that talks about how much good it's doing.
For fair sake, Patagonia has pushed that quite a bit with its "Don't Buy This Jacket" campaign, and its worn wear programs and all those things. Patagonia has done a good job of trying to get things to last a long time. And I mean, frankly, I still have a Patagonia shirt that I bought when I was in my early 20s. So you guys can guess how old that just might be.
Yeah, and how it smells.
Yeah. It smells great. I'll wash it.
I would take that opportunity to also plug not just Patagonia's worn wear, but places like Repair Layer in Minneapolis and the Gear Fix, where you can take your old stuff and they will show you how to fix it, to help you fix it and keep it running. On into the future for more adventures. We are just about out of time. This has been our GearJunkie Roundup, presented by Go RVing. Before I let either of you go, Sean, tell us what you're doing this weekend and the next week that you're excited about. I know
I will be out in the woods for the next 6 days, and it's between 0 and 35 degrees for the next 6 days.
You testing anything?
Yeah, Hilleberg tent.
Ooh,
I have a Hilleberg tent that I'm going out with. It's a 4-season tent. I've used it in the summer, and they claim it's good for winter as well, and I think it will be. It's really nice and robust, so I'm hoping it keeps a little bit more warmth in than my general summer weight tents. Beyond that, most of the stuff that I am using has been used previously. Kuiu, 0 degree down bag.
Cool.
Lots of heavy wool clothes, and kind of boots are those. Les Chemins.
What are you excited about for the weekend and next week?
I'm going mountain biking in Fruta with a bunch of friends.
All right.
Which is super fun. And yeah, I'm stoked about that. And I leave for Austin for a wedding next week, so this is kind of my last little outdoor adventure. And then I'm testing a Smartwell kit, wearing some of it now.
Nice.
So, yeah, see how it goes.
As for me, I have a bunch of reviews to do, and since you're going to be gone, I'm just going to be running everything on GearJunkie. So I'm sure things are going to be great next week. Yeah, look for a few more reviews. Got a story coming up about decathlon sports that I'm really excited about. Look for that next week. And until then, this is Adam Ruggiero, and we will see you next time on the Roundup.